But what I want to talk about is social media. The whole reason how and why any of this is possible. There wouldn't be vloggers, influencers, yada, 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 without social media. And I see a lot of people say things like being social media famous is like being rich in Monopoly. To a certain extent, I agree. But to a certain extent, I disagree because with certain people that can be true, but for a lot of people that society perhaps in general doesn't like, or the popular opinion is that they don't like them because they're just a social media influencer. They kind of making real money. They are making a life out of being a social media personality. And I think it's irritating to the people that dislike social media influencers because they feel that it's something anyone can do, but they're not doing it. And they feel, and I'm going to use an Afrikaans word now, they feel naar. They feel bitter because they see that person being successful and they therefore feel bitter because how are they successful? Because they're not really doing anything. Now, I can tell you, I am by no means an influencer. I've had many channels on social media. I have this YouTube channel for over 10 years already, but I haven't unlocked the secret to going viral all the time and actually making a living that I no longer need to work a 9 to 5 anymore because of my stuff that I do on social media. I'm slowly building up the means to make a successful career out of or making money out of being a presence on social media, but there's still a few pieces that need to fall into the puzzle before I can say, oh, I'm getting 5K, 10K a month from making videos, from having a website that I sell stuff on the website, from generating income from creating content. So as much, look, I'm also not a fan of quite a few of the influencers. But it's your fault that they are famous. It's like Crocs. Society dislikes Crocs. Society dislikes an artist like Pitbull. The Crocs are still being sold everywhere. Pitbull's music still gets played on radio. So someone is lying. I can name a lot of influencers and content creators that I think aren't that great. But they're successful. So it's not that I'm bitter that they are successful. It's just that I'm cross with myself that I don't have that same drive and work ethic to get to that point, because I know that the content and the ideas I have are good enough to be seen by a wider audience, but I don't do it consistently enough. I enjoy too many things. I will be busy with music the one time, then I'll be doing video stuff, then I'll be doing design, then I'll be doing 3D stuff. So my mind is not focused enough on one thing, and that I'm very open to say that's my weakness. I'm not shy when it comes to my weaknesses. I know what my weaknesses are, and I'm open to saying this is my weakness. I know exactly what my weakness is. I don't focus good enough. It will be hilarious if this video is not in focus now as well, because I don't have Luna with me, so I had to sort of muck and druk the focus. Anyway, you see how I'm going out of focus mentally. So yeah, the people that have made careers out of being content creators and social media influencers, kudos to them. Kudos to you guys for seeing a gap, seeing a niche, and going with it. There is still a massive gap in South Africa's market for good content creators. That's why you'll see many content creators in South Africa are successful in South Africa now, but they're not successful globally because their content is very, very localized, which makes them very popular local, but the chance to branch out isn't there because their content is so narrow-minded. And the people that say they don't like them or don't like a certain way of doing things must just keep quiet, because they are the ones that are sharing their stuff. They are the ones that are liking every post. They are the ones that are following the Insta baddies, etc., etc. I can myself for people going on for an Insta baddie. For those of you that does not know, is a hot woman that has an Instagram that literally all she does is just pose uninterested on nearly every photo, but the accounts get crazy amounts of followers, and then from that they get traction, and then they get sponsorship deals, and that's how it works. It's not their fault that people are liking their stuff. If people weren't liking their stuff, then they wouldn't think that they can do it. It's society's fault. So you can't be unhappy with something, but then you glorify that thing in the same breath. So you can't be unhappy with a certain way something is portrayed, or a certain way a culture or a stereotype is portrayed, but then in the same breath you glorify content expressing those very same stereotypes, and you share it and you go on about it. There's a disconnect there and a contradiction there, because you say you don't like something, but then you just saying you don't like it and sharing about that is making that thing stronger. How do you think the Kardashians became famous? Their haters and the people that like them keep on speaking about them, and that just makes their brand avalanche till they can become self-made billionaires, as the news was saying earlier this week. So yeah, I like social media a lot. Who doesn't like social media a lot? There are many positives, but there are also, of course, many negatives. Social media is obviously good for marketing. If you are clever enough with your business or with yourself, if you are a brand of comedy or musician or designer, I've seen so many artists, fan artists, move from sites like DeviantArt and ArtStation. Sorry, I was just checking that the camera is actually recording. I've seen them migrating from those platforms that were designed specifically for artists, those platforms that have not evolved to what the online platforms are like today. They have migrated to Instagram and have made wonderful livings out of Instagram. So Instagram is not necessarily a platform specifically designed for artists, but they have made it their own. And I follow so many fan artists on Instagram, and it's so cool to see that all of these cool ideas and fan-made ideas are getting such love from the creators of the actual material that they do, that they are getting inspired from, but also from people like me who are also artists, but just general fans. And it's a good place to build momentum and to build a brand. But in the same breath, it is also bad for spamming. There is so much spam online. I actually had a video that I screen recorded here. Sorry, I'm just looking at my notes quickly here so I don't run off track. There is so much spam and advertising that happens online constantly, that it just feels so noisy. There's billions of people on social media. Everyone has something to say. Everyone is smashing it in your face, and that noise can become so loud at times. And a lot of the times, depending on the platform and the people that you follow, that noise can be negative as well. And what that negative noise does, it just seeps into you, and you don't realize it, but subliminally that negativity just plays with how you feel in general. So it's very key to not, I know I'm saying something, but I myself don't do it. Don't stay on social media all the time, because the fakeness and the negativity and everything that goes on there can become a bit too much at times. The other thing social media is good for is it's good for getting to know someone. In the past, I don't know how people got to know people in the past. Okay, I do know you sat and you met with the people and you spoke normally, but you don't need to do that anymore. You can before you even meet someone, you can already know what type of person they are via the things that they share of themselves, but also via the things that they RT, that they retweet, and that they share. In that way, you can learn about who the person is and what type of person they are, which is awesome, which is great. You can know exactly who someone is or what they're about without having even met them before. But in the same breath, it's also bad for stalking, because literally anyone, if your platforms are open enough, literally anyone from anywhere can see who you are, where you go, your routines, etc., 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 where you work, where you live, and that is not cool. If you aren't careful enough with your security, bad things can happen, because there are some sickos and freaks in the world. And obviously, there are women that are cray cray that would do something like this, but in general, it is uh, lots of men that are creepy and weird that will try to stalk women and just be weird and say sexual stuff to women in the DMs and things like that. And that's why so many of your female friends have private accounts, not because they have nuclear launch codes, just because guys are assholes. And you can only deal with so much assholery before you just tell yourself, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna lock up my stuff. So yeah, social media is good for keeping in touch. You can, if you have a friend that works overseas, if you've got family that lives overseas, if you have a fan base, if you are that way inclined, it's just good for keeping in touch with people who are far away, who are close by. It's also bad for trolling as well. The people feel empowered by their keyboards and by the faux anonymity of, I'm not right in front of you right now. Like, I can say something about someone that I know even from here, and I can say, oh, you are an absolute cunt waffle, etc., 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 because the barrier of the screen makes you feel powerful, that that person can't do anything to you. But we all know that trolling can get you into trouble, and a lot of people say, oh, it's just social media, it's just Twitter, it's just Instagram. It's not. We've seen now recently, if you say something insulting someone or tarnishing someone's reputation, you can get into a whole lot of trouble. And that it also plays into the negativity that I was speaking about earlier. Go into any comment section, whether it be a tweet about football, Instagram picture of a new character being released in a comic or anime that you like, a YouTube video that is a trailer of a movie. Someone is always going to not like what they are seeing. They are always going to complain. There will always be someone who's going to be negative. There will always be someone that will criticize something. That is just full stop. As soon as something becomes well known, or there's a lot of people looking at it, there will always be someone saying, this is terrible. Always, that's just how it is. And the internet has just given a platform for trolls and negative people to do that. So especially if you create content, if you are an artist, a musician, a videographer, anything, you have to grow a bit of a thick skin to deal with trolls like that, because they make themselves feel better by saying bad things about other people because they aren't happy with their life. That's full stop. Don't even need to talk about it anymore. Now, social media is awesome for news. I can't remember who it was on my Twitter timeline that was saying something about news being paywalled, and it's crap if news is paywalled. Print media or former print media that is now digital, you cannot paywall news. You guys get the news from the internet, from social media anyway. So it's very audacious of you guys, the ones that paywall news, to paywall the news, because we find the news from Twitter and places like that in the first place. So social media is awesome for news. Things break, and then you find out about things. You find the real story of a big event or happening on the fly. If you are watching a live event, it's almost like you have two events playing at the same time. You have the actual event happening, and then you have the feedback and the comments and the things flying about the event. So, like in the World Cup, for instance, now, but also before that with Premier League and things like that, if something happens, it will take about 20 seconds for it to be a meme. The time for something to get immortalized on the internet is like that, and then just for us to forget about it in a week's time. But it's also, the internet is, social media is also bad for, I mean, you get news from the internet, but the bad thing about news on social media is that you get a lot of fake news. And I don't know why people do this. I don't know why people will purposely, like, they know that the news is fake, but they package it on a fake website. Okay, I do know why they do it. They want to get revenue from it. But then people will take a fake news article from a fake news site, share it onto Facebook, share it onto WhatsApp, and then make it snowball into this massive news thing, when you can already see from a lot of these articles that you can immediately see if the website is fake. And it's not, people say, oh, it's old people. It's not only old people. It is young people, old people, middle-aged people that fall for fake news sites. It's silly. Just, people are unscrupulous there, and they're trying to make money in any way possible. And they have to fight for your attention. So normal news doesn't cut it anymore. So people are trying to be controversial. They are trying to stir unrest. They are trying to stir animosity in between people. So they will share something that they know will trigger a reaction in you as a person who is for something or against something, etc., etc. So they will look for the buttons to press, and then they will keep sharing those sort of things to make their content go viral, thus getting people onto their website or onto their platforms, thus making revenue. That's the sad thing of news on the internet and on social media. So I spoke about how social media is good for building a brand, but it's also, the bad part of that is that, especially on Instagram, you are presented with a fake idea of what life is. So people sometimes become depressed because they see these perfect lives being depicted on social media, but we all know that life isn't really like that. Life isn't really that perfect. So you just need to keep subliminally in your head that not everyone's life is perfect. Even the people with the most perfect timelines have a lot of shit happening in their lives, and they are curating the content with just the things that they know people like. They're obviously doing that for a reason, so that they can keep people on their page. So yeah, don't get discouraged if you are a pleb, you have a normal job, you have a normal life, you have normal kids, you have normal family, you have a normal car, you go to a holiday, maybe to the beach around the corner from where you live. You don't go overseas to the 10th province to Thailand and all of these cool places that people go to. You are just a normal person, and you feel you are only living vicariously through these awesome people. They go overseas all the time. They go on holidays. They mingle with all the tour lebs and the celebrities. Good for them, but don't let that discourage you from the value that your life has. Your life is just as important as someone else's life. And even though your life might not be perfect in your eyes, those people's lives aren't perfect as well, because they are obviously putting up a face for their own purposes, but some of those people also don't have the perfect lives that they say they have, and they are sometimes even involved in things that you as a person perhaps wouldn't want to be involved in to get to that life that they want. So it's a case of the grass is greener because there's more poo on the other side. So yeah, man, just chillax and don't be so stressed out about what you see on social media, and just try to err on the positive side on social media, because social media can be a very dark place as well. It can be negative, it can be dangerous, it can be evil, it can get you into trouble, it can get you into danger. But there's also a big positive side to it as well, and it's just what we use it for. And I see here one of the notes that I have, and I'll end with this. it's just a qualm I have on social media. There will be people that like every single post that you have. They will retweet your tweets. They will like your tweets. They will like your posts on Facebook. If you spot these people in real life, then they walk right past you. It's like, you just liked my post on Instagram and you don't even you don't even see me. You don't even, like, you literally saw me and you put your head down and you walk past. Look, that's like maybe 1 out of 10 people that will do that, but it's my mom, and I blame my mom for that. She used to get so angry if she sees someone in public and they don't greet her, because it's like, oh, kyk, die meid, sy wil nie van my groet nie. Oh, sy groet. So I try to not have that same mindset, but if something is drilled into you, it's very difficult to unlearn. So it's like, dude, you know me from social media. You've met me in real life before, like at tweet-ups and meetups and things like that. And now you keeping you so, like, you poo ice cream and you poo rainbows. But yeah, that's a silly way to end the video, but I was at the bottom of my notes. So TLDR, social media can be good, it can be bad. It's what you filter it to be, what you curate your content streams to be like. And it's what you allow. One of my beautiful followers on Twitter, I added her to a list, to my Twitter list recently, and she asked, what list is Spenelo adding me to? And that list is the only list that I have, and it's how I experience Twitter, because you have to block out some of the noise. So I follow about 2,000 people on Twitter, but that list is only like 100 people. So that is my timeline that I go onto. So it's good to just curate your content stream on the social media platforms, just so that it's not too much noise. So yeah, keep it simple. As with most things, just keep it simple, and things will go well and swell after that. Thanks for listening. I've got some other videos over here that you can watch. Got some playlists that you can watch. And I will keep on doing vlogs and content. I need to do more music videos. I need to do more shorts, but I've been in a bit of a mental and physical slump, and I will try my best to get out of it and try to be positive about things and find my inner zen. I have to just find my inner zen and zen in and zone in. Just make sure that everything is aligned with my chakras. Thank you.